All right, here we go. Welcome to Bond Park. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Marshall.
And I'm Robin from Kwfamous.
And I'm Sam from Kwfamous.
We do a lot of community placemaking, a lot of silly events. We make merch.
And we're KW super fans.
Welcome to Bond Park.
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 Sam and Robin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're really excited to have you. I know I say that to all of our guests, but it's actually true.
Oh, it's damn true.
We really, that's wrestling. That's the wrestling joke, right?
Yeah.
All right, we have another podcast that's all about wrestling. We could talk about that later. But it's true. We really love getting to know the people in our community. And when Marshall and I, when we ran into each other 4 years ago out on the sidewalk and we decided to make a podcast together, we didn't know it would grow into this, and we're so grateful to meet everybody in our community. You know?
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me how small KW is, but also how big and how there's still always someone to meet and find out about and be fascinated by.
Yeah, we always say there's 2 degrees of separation between everybody in KW. So somebody will know somebody if you need something.
This is always my advice to like young business owners, or whenever you go to like a women in business meetup or whatever that might be, is it's a small town and treat people as such, because everybody knows each other.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah, It's all interwoven so tightly. My first question is, I wonder if you ever get any flack for it being KW and not WR. Tell me the truth. Because it took us a long time, Marshall, because I'm K-Dubs, I'm from K-Dubs. That's what I say. Marshall and I, it took us a long time to start saying Waterloo region. It wasn't in there. We were still on Tri-Cities time.
Yeah.
We called it the Tri-Cities.
Because I read for the Waterloo Chronicle, I started seeing the word Waterloo region come up more and more. I thought, I guess I better get on board with that. And also, we've heard just people say sometimes Cambridge feels a little excluded. Mm-hmm. So
we integrate it, but Cambridge is the silent C in KWFamous.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So is this a soft spot question?
No. We actually just spent a whole day in Galt last week, and then one of our favorite restaurants is in Preston. So we really do.
Which one?
La.
Hi, Vanessa. Vanessa and Miguel are my friends. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Miguel.
That is a soft spot because Sam went without me and I was so upset.
Robin went without me the first time, so...
Yeah. It's lovely. It's so much fun. The experience. Did you have paella, or were you just going off the tapas? Yeah. They're amazing people. Absolutely amazing.
And Thursdays is tapas night, so... I'm going to go without you this time, Sam.
Everybody go to La Lola, okay? The cheesecake. I mean, if you're not a cheesecake fan, it doesn't matter, because this is something else. This isn't like Costco cheesecake or party cheesecake. This is like a different thing. And it's also gluten-free.
Did you have the cheesecake?
I did have the cheesecake.
Oh, I thought we could go for cheesecake together.
We can.
You
still can. I'll think about it.
It seems like a La Lola face-off.
You know what's really good there is their sangria.
Oh, yeah? They used to make a fantastic lentil soup, and also their tortilla is amazing.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's go when they open their patio together.
Think about it. Okay.
Sam, when I interviewed you recently for Waterloo Chronicle, it was so interesting to hear you say small town, referring to Kitchener-Waterloo. But I really thought about that for a while. And I thought about how in the span of like just an hour even, I can be on Iron Needles on a really busy day, and this doesn't feel like a small town. It feels like a the city's getting bigger and bigger and faster and faster. But at the same time, as soon as I'm in a local comic book shop in Uptown Waterloo, and it's the same guy behind the counter as he was.
Andy?
Yeah. Hi, Andy.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story about Andy. It was only recently I said to Andy, after years and years of being a customer, I said, you didn't treat me very nicely when I first walked in here when I was like 16 years old, right? And he just kept...
What, does he treat you nicely now?
No, not really.
I told you it was just 2 weeks ago that Mark Logan said, "Hi, Sarah," at Encore Records. I've been going there for 30 years plus.
Yeah.
That means you've made it.
That's what I said to Marshall. He said he's planning a party. We're going to celebrate. Oh, wow. There'll be live music.
What happened was when I was 16, I made my own comic book. It was called Ganymede, and I did the whole thing. I spent like months on it, and I walked in there. I said, "Is there any chance you would be interested in selling this in your store?" And Andy just looked at me and said, "No."
He didn't even look at your comic book?
No.
He didn't know that you're an incredible artist with great ideas.
No, he doesn't know.
That's his brand, though. Fun fact is Andy is my other dad.
Fun.
I see him every day. He gives my dog treats.
Nice.
And he's trained him now to go inside the comic book store almost every day.
Well, that's where the treats are.
That's where the treats are. I don't
Dog ate
get
them.
any treats, though. Andy's still mean to me. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, does it make you part of the club?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. That's also
Robin likes.
I'm feeling a little weird that Mark knows who I am now. I'm like, but what about my story that he doesn't know me? I can't tell the story anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's what we like, though, is we're I don't want you to change who you are.
Don't change for us, KW.
No.
You be you.
Yeah, be as mean to me as you need to be.
Yeah, it's a little bit salty. That's how you know you're welcome in KW.
Yeah, you're part of the family.
I love it. I remember the first time that I saw an Otis decal. I have an aversion to that, what I call the S word, the other word for things that you can apply to your laptop and water bottle and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I have an actual phobia. I always use the word decal because this word, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this. So I'm going to look up the pronunciation, but some people can't stand when a sticker has half or fully peeled away and the reverse becomes dirty, and other people can't stand the stickiness. It's a real, extremely rare phobia. And it gets in the way of your life. It really does. So I'll tell you how to pronounce.
Oh my gosh. So how long have you had sticker phobia?
I can't even, the word, just you saying the word, I'm like, ugh, Robin, let's still be friends. My whole life, as long as I can remember. And it's so funny because I tried so hard to be a good mom and make sure that my kids were comfortable around dogs and not weirded out by things. And my youngest daughter has this, and it was noticed at school. And the teacher was like, "So we've noticed this thing."
You are
That
ruining this
piano
podcast.
photo. I know. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm sorry.
I was
sorry,
like,
Marshall.
thank God I don't
Okay.
have to edit this.
I have trouble with crumpled up Kleenexes.
Yes.
Especially
If at a restaurant.
a restaurant, someone puts on a plate.
Yeah.
Or there's an old lady with it in her hand, and she was walking out.
Yeah, no, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's sticker.
Yeah.
So I always use the word decals.
Yeah.
So
have your decal.
that's a decal, but you'll notice it's that real thick metallic-y
Yeah.
one, right? Yours are thick.
Ours
They're
are
not paper,
thick.
right?
They're
Okay.
vinyl.
So for people like me with a sticker phobia, I appreciate your decals and how thick they are because I can handle those ones for some reason. But the first time I saw an Otis the Swan one, I thought, oh, this is special. Somebody has come into the space and realized that we should celebrate the things that we all just take for granted in this town. That's what I'm trying to get at with this whole story.
That's a really nice way to put it. I like that.
Can we write that down?
Yeah.
You can take it. We'll you guys can transcribe the episode. We'll leave
If you hadn't done it, who else would?
Who else would have? And the first time I saw somebody wearing the Jane Ethel, tell me what the order is again.
Ethel Jane Morty Phil.
Yeah. And I mean, I just don't wear a lot of t-shirts, so I don't have one myself. But the first time I saw it, I thought, well, those are my places. These are the places that I've grown up going to. And this makes sense, right? But nobody else had done it yet. So tell us about the inception.
Yeah, so at the beginning, it was Elaine and I, and Elaine actually had started the Instagram for the Swan, which was kind of the inspiration. It was like, this Swan needs a presence.
Yes.
So it's like, we need to make this fan band girl tee. And we made Valentine's. We made a whole love story around it because I believe in the record, the story was that Otis was a widow and that it'll never find true love ever again. It was such a heartbreaking story. And then he did find love. So now we have Otis and Ophelia together. So yeah, I think that the celebrating these little things, like you were saying, that we take for granted, that we see at the park every day, and having, I don't know, making up stories like KW that we can be proud to share and start conversations with people. Like when you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, I know Otis the Swan. And you can just spark conversation with random strangers just because you're wearing some silly t-shirt, which is what I love about it the most.
Well, I grew up in the bland land of Mississauga, and there was not a single inside joke like that wasn't offensive.
Right.
And so when I came to KW and people were like, yes, it's Otis, and sometimes, Ophelia. And that was the inside joke. It was like, wow, KW just loves the silly things, but everyone knows who Otis is.
Everyone knows. And I mean, we're all just okay with the fact that we have this ridiculous animatronic Oktoberfesty puppet display that plays Liebestrom, I think, the German love song.
Yeah.
And we all just are like, yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, it's going off. It's noon, whatever time it goes off. I can't remember the time.
It's like random times. Like I never figure it out. It's like 6:42, and then it's like it starts.
There it goes.
Don't fix it now. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Right? But we all just accept it. We all just sort of know it, or we all just sort of say, like, I don't know the street, but it's the one with the thing on it, right?
First time I saw some of your stuff was, I guess, in Gifted. Were they one of your first stories?
Hi, Sylvia. Sylvia has been like an absolute angel.
Yeah, she has supported Bun Park from the get-go.
Thank you, Sylvia Horn.
Thank you, Sylvia Horn. She welcomed us in, and she was like helping us sell our stickers. Decals.
It's okay. It's okay.
Our decals. And she has just been a supporter from the very beginning. That basically started the Kwfamous merch sales. Was Gifted and her help. So
it started with the merch. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, I know how these things work. When people are just like, oh, you just make a podcast? What do you record on your phone? I'm going to make one next week. No, it's not that simple. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So you start with the merch, and now you're at a point where you're collaborating with St. Jacob's Farmers Market District, and you're creating the Vintage Fest on the May long weekend. And that's a big event. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things that you need to consider to get something moving like this into place, right? So
getting nervous.
What does the
Not sweating.
what does the path look like from beginning to where we are now?
Well, so I was working at the City of Kitchener for the Downtown Kitchener team, and I was covering a mat leave there. And so
Misty's?
Yeah. Oh, hi, Misty. Hi, Misty.
Small town.
Misty's the best. So I was covering Misty's mat leave, and Robin and at the time Elaine were working on, or they had like started working more on events with businesses, because during the pandemic, nobody really knew how to pivot. We're going to pull that word back. Nobody really knew.
Against it. Everyone did. I was impressed.
Yeah. And like nobody really knew how to bring people back in a way that made people feel safe. And so what Robin and Elaine were doing were boozy brunches. And so I had heard about it. And before I could even get it in the newsletter for Downtown Kitchener, they had sold out.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought, like, wow, that's incredible. And so, I was creeping and looking at their stuff. And it was kind of by fate, because I wanted to do, I'm a data nerd, so I wanted to do surveys. But you can't do a good survey without a good piece of merch. So I knew who to contact when I knew I needed local merch that was relevant to downtown. So I bought a bunch of merch from Kwfamous. And then we just had lunch and talked about what KW needs to rebound, because KW can rebound. And out of that came the winter patio party, because Robin and Elaine were also doing like business, like working with businesses on marketing and design. We had talked about a winter patio party because the businesses were like, we no longer just need people here. We need to find a way to bring them back into businesses. Mm-hmm. And so the winter patio party, like, it even got pushed off by a month because of Omicron, like that wave we had. And we were just talking about, okay, I totally agree. Like, I was responsible for business development downtown, and we needed to get people back into businesses even in February, because people were hurting, especially that was 2022.
Dark time.
Yeah, very dark time. And so we put together a winter patio party, which ended up being a collab between Downtown Kitchener and Uptown Waterloo. And it was something like 12 local businesses, and then 16 businesses were involved. And we moved people from each of those businesses. We know people were out for like 4.5 hours. They made an average of 6 stops. They took the LRT.
Yeah, she's lighting up because she's talking stats, peeps.
Talking stats. And then from there, it was just like, okay, KW needs something different. They need something for all age groups, but maybe even going a bit younger, because a lot of the events are like family focused, and not everyone, has young kids. And people wanted more like late night stuff, or more wholesome like more wholesome than the drink fests of being a student. So
Give me a reason to come out and have some drinks, move my body, and act like, not like this isn't happening, but just act like we're allowed to have fun again.
yeah, and
Right?
so we brought it outside in the middle of February. It was -7. It started snowing, and then it was like, I think we're onto something. And we had both had lunch, and they were like, we want to do a roller disco. And I was like, I want to do a roller.
Who doesn't? I mean, I'll come watch him. Which roller?
No, I'm not good at it, and I'll put the skates on for like 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
then we started planning a roller disco, and it's just been from there. How can we connect artists, businesses, community, government, all kinds of people to do what everyone is saying we should be doing, but nobody's doing out here.
I think it's important to note too, like, let's tell me if I'm way off base here, but when you work a job like Misty Brown's mat leave that you were covering at the City of Kitchener, hi Misty, when you work a job like that and you're involved in this kind of work, it does make it easier to understand how the connections are made and who you need to ask and who you need to talk to, right? So for anyone else who's out there who's doing the same kind of thing and who's trying to make a go of it, not the same kind of thing, but similar type of work, and is trying to make a go of it, sometimes having some of that experience is what's going to be lifting you in the community. Kind of, as we well know with a podcast and other people that have tried podcasts, you can't just make something and just be like, here it is, world, love me. There's a lot of legwork that goes into it.
Yeah, and that was kind of like Sam brought Kwfamous to the next level because like me, I'm a designer background, like creative ADHD queen, and Sam really knows how to pull things together and like talk to the right people to make things happen. She's read every single book on whatever legislation or whatever rules the municipalities put in place, and she knows not to like how to like go around them, but like we did have to be really creative and like kind of hacking how you get things done in the city, because when you do it within an organization or within like a the BIAs or whatever, it's really hard to do because there's so many rules. But if we do it outside, like we've been doing and connecting both Kitchener and Waterloo and Cambridge, like that's the kind of thing that we want to see more of, to try to do more collaborations, to be like, okay, like we'll work with all of you that have the rules, but we're going to do it our way so that we can work with everybody. So,
well, that's the thing is like, as much as I love the government work for the ability to move things, the moving of things is so slow. Like moving the needle is extremely slow because everyone, like the entire purpose of government is to be risk averse and to build processes. But within those processes, it makes it really easy for people to say no. And it's not just no, it's, oh, we can't do this, or you have to do this to be able to do that. And what I come to it, because I've worked at 3 municipalities now, is what if we challenged those views that we have of bureaucracy? What if I don't actually have to hand something in 60 days in advance, because that doesn't make sense for every business that's involved in that permitting process, and it's actually completely inaccessible. And so I would challenge a lot of these processes, and I know that I can push on those things, but it was the opportunity to challenge the accessibility and how it made sense to build these processes, that we were like, what if we did it like this? Because I didn't like working in a city where it was just like, well, we can't do this thing. It was like, how can we do this thing? And I feel like if more people thought that way in a government framework, we'd be able to get a lot more things done. And I think that people actually did do that with COVID. It was, how can we get these things done? It was eliminating barriers for like AGCO, building bigger patios outside. And all that was changing some numbers on paper. It actually wasn't bigger than that. And so I like to look at it from like, what if we actually thought we could do these things and we're creative instead of just looking at the parameters that we can't? And so Robin has the most wild ideas I've ever heard. And I like the challenge.
Are you an ideas machine, Robin?
Sometimes I go way too far, Sarah. And I really have to get pulled back to earth. But
That's where the magic happens.
I think that is where the magic happens. And like the fun of it is like dreaming up what we can do with what we have. And we've been really successful in doing so with collaboration, because we have to use what we have, which isn't much, and then just kind of work together to make awesome things happen right here in our backyards. So
yeah, like if KW doesn't have a roller rink, we sure as hell are going to convert a parking garage into one. Be hell or high water, we're going to make it work. And it was the coolest roller rink since the last roller rink in KW shut down.
Super Skate 7.
oh
Is that the last one?
I think so.
I think probably.
Yep.
Where was that one? Was that at Furniture Wonderland?
On Marsland.
No. So you're better at this now because you actually worked there and you know Gary. We've had Gary on the show, but
Yeah, Super Skate 7, and then it became the Twists, which became the Vid.
these were like clubs for young people,
Yeah.
like underage people could go as
And
well.
then Flying Dog.
You couldn't call a club the Vid anymore. It would just be.
Right. Right, yeah, because it was during the Much Music years.
Yeah. What was it before Super Skate 7 though? It was something else.
I don't know what it was before.
I
I didn't think
I'd have to go
before that.
have to go back to the episode. It was something before Super Skate 7. Yeah.
I was thinking about how putting Vintage Fest outside Market Road Antiques is just brilliant. You know, if you think about all the things that line up, one is Market Road Antiques already have their established people like me who like to go almost every week. And then it's on the May long weekend where as much as 60,000 people, Sarah and I have been told, can visit the farmer's market in a single day, right? So there's already people coming to that area.
Yeah.
And then to set yourself up outside, you know, where you'll be highly visible. I'm picturing lots of tents and lots of color, right?
Anyone who wants to listen, we have a 3-part series on the market from
Yep.
last year.
We do. And it just makes all the sense in the world that that's where you're going to do it, right? I can't think of a better place to have Vintage Fest. Yeah. And then people will go inside and maybe discover Market Road Antiques for the first time. I found with our 2 antique markets in KW, people have lived here their whole lives and haven't really been in them or spent much time in
Or
them.
you go once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. And I say, don't tell anybody about it. Keep it our little secret.
What I love about the antique market is, you know, if there's a family and there's just chaotic behavior, there's the little kids in Walmart, you don't think anything of it. It's just whatever, right? But if that's happening in the antique market,
Everyone's on edge.
yeah, it's like, what's going on in here? You know what I mean? What, you know?
You're going to break something.
Brandon, stop it.
Yeah. You're right. There isn't a lot of children there. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Well,
Also, are you thinking of 20 years ago because you said Brandon? Like,
Right.
what would the name be today?
Brandon, I mean,
Maybe, right? Brandon?
Tayton.
Teton.
Yeah, that's good there. But actually, that actually did happen a little while ago. Was there was a kid grabbing, touching everything. His mom's yelling at him in the antique market, and the people who were in there were all just kind of looking at each other. I mean, that's weird. You know, that's not what the vibe is in here usually.
Yeah. But we also think it's like the perfect marriage of everything that we're working on. Like, it was actually by fate that we even had a meeting with the St. Jacobs Market this winter. And we were already working on Vintage Fest because Christie Lake had closed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's nothing like Christie Lake. And we need that. And I thought, you know, like, I love Hamilton. Like, half of my heart's in Hamilton. But I love KW more.
Good.
So
This isn't Hamilton famous.
No.
Sam.
so, you know, we were like, we need something up here. And we were thinking, you know, what if we had another brand with it? Or we were really brainstorming. We just knew there was a gap. And this is like the small area to fill it because it's right when those shows closed down over COVID. It's right when that's like all really like last year, some of them came back, but a lot of them were way slower to come back because there was still stuff happening in the winter last year. So people didn't want to make plans. But now it's like really coming back. And we were like, there is a gap. And just when we're talking to St. Jacobs Market, they were like, we want to be more innovative. We want to modernize some things, but keep that heritage. And they were talking about how they want to amplify other areas of the district, like Market Road Antiques. And we were like, wow.
Yeah, Sam's been looking to do an antique market forever. That's how a lot of things happen is we like have ideas and we percolate and they just sit for a while and then somebody says something that we're like, ooh, like let's bring that back somewhere.
What were you imagining? Like, I mean, I could picture you could do something in Waterloo Town Square. You could do something in Victoria or Waterloo Park, maybe. But what were you imagining if that didn't come along, Market Road Antiques?
I was thinking like in a field, but nowhere in KW felt right. And so we were in
Alora.
We were looking in Alora.
Which is my hometown. I love
Alora.
We love Alora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were very, very, like, we nearly booked a place actually nearly booked 2 places in Alora. But then that meeting came to be and it was like, there's already an audience.
Yeah.
And then there's a collaboration, which is what we love. And then there's an opportunity to showcase everything that Kwfamous is about, which is like the famous spots, the hidden gems, and a way to amplify what's happening here.
It almost made too much sense.
It felt very right.
What's so neat about the market I think about is if I go every single week to the market,
What you do?
a Thursday in February morning, Thursday morning, February. If somebody came from the other side of the world to see this famous market, Canada's biggest agriculture market, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here." But on one of those, like a May-long weekend in the summertime, and all the vendors are outside, that's where the market is just this glorious place, right? It's really bustling.
Like a September Thursday
Yeah,
is just a dream.
yeah, that's pretty awesome
Yep.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like just so bountiful. I'm like, what are all, like, I don't know, my brain just goes wild. And I think that's what I really like it about out here is you have that really big city feel. You have that country vibe of still being able to go to the market and literally talk to the people who are growing that food. I just love it.
What kind of conversations are you having with people when they see your T-shirt? You know, they don't know what KWFamous is, but they must see your shirts.
No, you have
They're
to
like,
describe the shirt.
Yeah.
Because we're on podcast.
Right, Sam's wearing a Mount Trashmore shirt. It says where dreams come true. Beautiful design.
Inspiring.
KWFamous there. And you must just see people's eyes kind of open wide. It's like, where did you get that from?
Yeah, it's usually like a stop look of confusion and then like a quick giggle.
Yeah.
And then we get either like a story, like people come up to us and they're like, "Oh yeah, like my nephew got engaged on Mount Trashmore," or like Jamal Murray, the basketball player, used to like train with like a weighted backpack and go up and down the hill with his dad. Yeah, it's mostly like a sharing of story. Like they feel the need to tell you something, which I love because I just love random stories.
Yeah, every single time. I like my favorite part of working a market is I know that I'm going to get like 6 new stories about Mount Trashmore and find out things that I've never heard about, like the Eternal Flame or the Aerosmith or whoever concert.
Oh my God, I love that. Sorry. That's great.
You know, I think about how, you know, when you celebrate these things, it really it makes you appreciate things all the more, but it also makes you question what's going on with, when you mentioned Mississauga. If I've talked to 10 people about Mississauga and I try to ask them to describe Mississauga to me, like culturally and what's going on in Mississauga, I've never had anybody tell me anything really. They just kind of go, "Oh, I don't know." Like just.
No, there's nothing in Mississauga. It's so sad. Like I grew up there and I couldn't wait to leave because I knew there were other places that were actually doing things and there wasn't a single thing. Like I started my first business in Mississauga at 20 years old and it was like nobody wanted to help. And I was like starting a farmer's market, like where there wasn't one in community gardens and couldn't even get that going. And that's like what cities now really want. So it was really bizarre. I don't know, maybe it was too ahead of its time, like however many years ago, but
Mississauga sucks.
Mississauga sucks.
Sorry, Mississauga.
You're probably not listening anyway. Mississauga.
So one of my favorite events of yours was the holiday pop-up market. I told Marshall right away, "You got to go check out this shit." And he's like, "What is it?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No, you're going. You'll find every gift for your family, for your wife and your kids there."
Yep.
And I was right.
Yep.
Yeah?
You were right.
Yeah. Pretty awesome stuff. Tell us how that came to be.
So we did a strategic plan for the next 2 to 5 years. And we believed that in 5 years' time, we would own a small pop-up with some of our merch and local artist goods. And then a few days later, we got an email from the wonderful Jay Shaw, who owns 165 King West. And he said, "You guys have done an event here before. We just had a tenant leave. I can't have this empty for the holidays. Do you know anyone or do you have any ideas?" He said, "Well, Jay."
I mean, you might not know this, but you're part of our manifestation.
Yes. We didn't think it was going to happen in 2 months, but we'll flip it. We'll do it. And so because we already knew that was like a pipe dream of ours, we were like, okay, we just have to take it. We have to drop everything and take it. And so it was like October 16th, we got the email. October 20th, we had confirmation. And then by October 22nd, we had our vendor call out and we were open on November 28th.
Amazing. Felt good? Did anyone sleep?
No.
No.
But we did sell over, right? I think we put like $100,000 towards artists in the city.
Amazing.
Everybody was like excited to support local and like learning. We all had little cards to learn more about the artists and where it came from. And I think it was just like a really wholesome, cool event, as like the artists as well didn't have to stand there like a market awkwardly because nobody likes doing that. Like
And they're busy that time of year. They're making stuff for Christmas.
We're so busy.
Holiday.
They don't like, there's so many markets now that we thought, let's just like, we'll staff it, put it on their shelves, and then like they get most of the money. We just cover costs for like just covering basic admin costs and stuff like that. And it worked out better than I think any of us could have imagined. And that's all because of Jay. Sweet baby angel Jay.
Thank you, Jay. All right, I want to ask about another event that I did not go to, the Adult Spelling Bee. This is intriguing. Please tell us about this event.
Where do we begin?
Was it wild? It looks like fun. I watched the reel.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like the trivia and the bingo and everything that's happening. And I think it was Elaine's idea of just wanting to
Wholesome fun instead of what
fun. Yeah. Okay. The underwritten name of it is Drunk Spelling Bee.
That's amazing.
But you're not allowed to put that on design work, apparently. So, yeah, we just thought, how funny would it be for adults to participate in kid things, but make it adult and fun and have some drinks over it. And I think people still really like those things that we did as kids, like spelling bees, where you get to like kind of challenge yourself, have a silly fun time. Like there's no real meaning to it. You're just going out for a good time. And so that's how that one came to be.
Although the people that came from Toronto were very serious.
They were ready to win.
They did win.
They did win. Okay, so they are like professional event
We think
goers.
so.
Kind of like when you go to karaoke, you're like, oh shit, these people aren't here for the same reason.
But it was
They practiced.
we all know. We all know. But it was by such fluke that they won because the last word was a psychology term. And she was like, I'm a trained psychologist.
Amazing. So you did this in a brewery.
Yes. Waterloo Brewing.
Yeah.
Because, they wanted to bring more people out to their space as well and connect more with the community. And they were just the perfect space because they had everything set up and they were such wonderful partners.
So everybody had a beautiful space. And before that, we were doing we did a Waterloo, what are those things called that hold the beer?
Growlers.
We did a growler.
Rawr. Robin just made claws, so I had to growl.
Thank you. So they were just a cool partner. They were the first craft brewery in the area. It just kind of made sense. Like people come to us with random ideas and then we'll sit on it for a couple months and or a couple days and then just turn something over. So yeah.
There's too many ideas percolating in our heads, so it's really easy.
Where my zone is. Marshall's well aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I don't get the idea and then something kind of switches and I go, oh, I see.
You can see what you're trying to make me do.
Yeah.
Can you also tell us about your involvement in the Willow River Park t-shirt design?
Yeah. Yeah, so one of Robin's most famous, I guess, designs was of the Victoria Park, the bridge and everything, and we were selling those shirts. And I'm actually, when you were talking about Twitter earlier, I only got on Twitter after Trump was off and before Musk took over. It was a very sweet spot. But I was following Bengi Shimo, and I just loved everything that they were talking about. And then one day I saw, we don't need permission, it's Willow River Park. And I thought, holy shit, I love that. And then I thought, you know what? I mean, it's not like merch makes money.
No.
Merch is really for the love of it.
Yeah.
But I was like, we are selling this thing. And what could we do to, reconnect with the community and pay respect to the Indigenous people who have been here, very specifically on that land. If you, we've talked to the people at Schneider House too, and there's a long history of Indigenous people being very specifically on that land. And so I had to tell Robin, I'm sorry, I think
No, I was happy. I was like, let's fuck shit up because if we're doing something that we can correct on and help out, that's the kind of thing, the kind of stories, we don't want it just coming from our perspective. And I think that was the awesomeness of Sam coming in and saying, hey, let's do a collaboration, who was Maddie Resmer for this one. And they did an amazing job they already had the design. They adjusted it a little bit for the t-shirt. And we're like, well, we already have the platform to sell t-shirts and pick them up. And we agree, let's just do this and see what happens. And it was a huge success. There were so many supporters. And now there's people around KW wearing these Willow River Park t-shirts, kids, adults, everybody. And it's this whole movement that's happening with the little part that we can do, which is making t-shirts. So it was a really cool collab. It was, we retired the Victoria Park t-shirt, put it in a vault, locked it away for I don't know how long. How long does Disney keep things in vaults?
Forever. Things that we'll never see, most likely, as well. What I love about this design, this collaboration, and putting these Willow River Park shirts out there is the conversations I was reading online. Just watching other, because we've had Bongi Shimo on the show as well, and hearing or reading, people's conversations like, hey, did the park get renamed? And other people just say, yeah, it did. Like just leaving it, just dropping, yeah.
Because nobody will look into it anyway. So if we just keep saying that it did, it'll happen.
Give it some time.
Yeah.
It'll stick.
Yeah. And so we just totally support that. I mean, I feel like the name switch is really hard because there are enough people who aren't reading into these things that don't understand. So like when I would say to people, oh yeah, it's at Willow River Park, I would have to be like, the old Victoria Park or something like that. But I just think if the least we can do is change a name, what's it to me? Like
part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, if that's the least we can do. Yeah. Check that box easy. No problem. And so being able to use our platform and donate 100% of the funds back to them was awesome. Like we literally just covered like shipping costs. I don't even think we covered time costs because we were like, no, like this is just something we fundamentally believe in and that more people need to take action on. We just kind of wanted to lead by example. And we love Maddie's work anyway. So it was an easy sell.
Yeah, we love Maddie.
Why don't we wrap up with talking about Vintage Fest and what people can expect that weekend?
Exactly what I was thinking.
I guess you would have seen people showing you examples of what's coming, kind of thing.
Yeah, who's going to be there? What can people expect?
Yeah. Okay, so
expect the unexpected.
And done.
Uh-oh.
That is the tagline. Yeah, so Vintage Fest is an antique and vintage show. So it's kind of modeled after the traditional antique and vintage shows like Aberfoyle, where you'll have your resident vendors like in the indoor part or in the like permanent section. And then we bring in a lot of guest vendors. So I think we're at like maybe 45 or 50 guest vendors, but then we're putting the Kwfamous spin on it, which is
just all kinds of shenanigans adding in.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a modern circus experience.
I said a modern, what did I say? A modern, culturally respectful circus. So like we do have a bearded lady on stilts and we have a hypnotist and there's just all kinds of fun, incredible things. And so we're trying to just bring in all different components of what makes up KW. Like we came up with values with the St. Jacobs Market District and one of them is gathering. And so we thought of all the different culturally appropriate and shenanigan ways that we could bring people together and gather. So there's like music and then fun entertainment, like all kinds of unexpected, silly fun mixed in with the regular shopping of an antique and vintage show.
Yeah, I think the whole feeling of it will be like the warm and fuzzy nostalgic vibes that you just want to feel like you probably know when you step inside that antique market and walk around. It's like a sense of calm. I don't know what it is about vintage and antique shopping, but we both love that and want to like make that like a whole day experience. And why not in St. Jacobs Market where, I mean, it already exists there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the May long weekend. So it's May 20th, 21st, and 22nd from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day. Rain or shine, we're going to go forward with it. And am I missing anything, Sam?
It's at Market Road Antiques, which is 845 Weber Street North in Waterloo, technically. And the tickets will be available very shortly. So definitely when this podcast is out at kwfamous.com/vintagefest, all is one word. And it'll be cheaper advance tickets than at the door, just an entry fee for all the fun and entertainment that will support us hiring local artists, musicians, performers, everything.
Perfect. See you there.
Yeah, see you there.
Bond Park is made possible with the support of the Waterloo Region Community Foundation, the Kitchener Public Library, our local sponsors, and you, our loyal listeners.
We make this show in Sarah's kitchen. If you like it, please rate and subscribe.
That helps us get the word out to more listeners.
The Bond Park theme song is by Alan Lung. Sarah and I are super excited for season 4, and all the amazing shows we're going to bring you.
We're also really excited about our secret side podcast called An Unscripted Spectacle, Wrestling with Wrestling. And it's not actually about wrestling.
No, it isn't. It's about a lot of things.
Mostly life.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of laughter.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of laughter.
We're incredibly proud of it. So please check it out on all your streaming platforms. An unscripted, I can't say it. Can you say it?
An unscripted spectacle, wrestling with wrestling. Meow, 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 meow.